So you're in the tech world and you are considering moving to Palo Alto, but you're not sure about your commute to work. So today we're going to touch upon that issue. We're going to talk to you about how long would it take if you were to drive, how long would it take if you were to bike. A lot of cyclists in the Bay Area and a lot of bike lanes are available. We're also going to talk about how long would it take if you utilize public transportation. So stay tuned to the very end. This is Heather Lin with Keller Williams Realty. In this channel, we talk about real estate related topics, especially how to sell your home for top dollar sale. If you find the information useful, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit that notification button so there will be one juicy video coming your way every week. We've gotten a lot of reach out from people about different real estate related topics. If I haven't addressed your concern or your question, please feel free to send me a text. I would love to have an opportunity to chat with you. So we're going to talk about your commute to 5 major tech companies here in the Bay Area. We're going to talk about your commute to Facebook, to Google headquarters, to Salesforce headquarters in San Francisco, to Apple Computer that's located in Cupertino, and we're going to talk about your commute to Adobe, which is headquartered in downtown San Jose. Let's talk about Facebook. If you are considering moving to Palo Alto, it's actually pretty close to Palo Alto. Facebook is headquartered in East Menlo Park. If you were to drive there from Palo Alto, you're looking at a commute between 15 to 20 minutes by car. And depending on where you come from, you may not need to get onto 101, which is the major highway here, which is trafficy during commute hours. So Palo Alto is actually a really good location if you're thinking about working for the headquarters of Facebook. Biking is definitely very feasible. Public transportation is also another good option. The city of Palo Alto has made a concerted effort to create more bike lanes to encourage people to take advantage of the outdoors, take advantage of their bikes. So if you have a nice bike and you like to ride your bike to work, going from Palo Alto to the Facebook headquarters in East Menlo Park, we're talking about 20 to 25 minutes, which is a great exercise if you ask me. The other possibility is that a lot of tech companies do offer shuttle buses, and many of their shuttle buses pick you up from the Caltrain station, which is the train system that goes from San Francisco all the way down south to Morgan Hill, Gilroy. You could take advantage of the employee shuttle options, so that's another great option. And if you were to really strictly take the Caltrain and the bus, we're talking about somewhere between maybe 20 to 25 minutes if you were to do that from downtown Palo Alto to Menlo Park. So let's talk about your commute to Google if you were to live close to Palo Alto in Palo Alto. Headquarters is located in Mountain View, which is 20 minutes north of San Jose and about 45 minutes to 1 hour south of San Francisco. If you were to drive to Google headquarters in Mountain View from Palo Alto, it's actually not bad. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes. You might want to get onto Highway 101, which is a little bit more trafficy during rush hours, or you might consider doing 280, which is less trafficy, but a little farther away. So that's going to take about 20 to 25 minutes depending on the traffic condition. Biking is completely feasible. It's a good exercise from Palo Alto to Mountain View to the Google headquarters. You might want to consider bike to the nearest shuttle location and get on the shuttle bus to get to Google headquarters. I know Google runs many shuttle routes, so that might be something to look into. And if you were to just kind of strictly take advantage of the public transportation, combination of buses and light rail, we're talking about maybe 45 minutes, possibly an hour. So let's look at Salesforce. If you have a commute to downtown San Francisco where Salesforce headquarters is located, it's a huge tower in downtown San Francisco. And if you were to drive into San Francisco, we're looking at 45 minutes to over an hour, sometimes an hour and a half during rush hour traffic. So you will need to get onto 101 most likely, and 101 does get trafficy during normal business hours, normal traffic hours. So that might be something to consider. The other great option is to take advantage of public transportation. Caltrain take you right into downtown to the ballpark in San Francisco, and there might be buses you could take from there to get to your work location. So that's another great options to consider. Again, check with your employee bus routes. They have many bus routes that are helping the employees to cut down on their need to to drive and cut down on their need to be in their car. By the way, Caltrain is a great way to get to San Francisco if you were to be commuting from South Bay City or Peninsula cities. There's literally a station in every city along the peninsula and Silicon Valley. For Caltrains, it's a great way to not drive and get to San Francisco and be at the leisure of your computer while you're on the train. However, Caltrain only drop you at the outskirts of San Francisco, which is near the AT&T ballpark in Embarcadero area. You will, depending on your work location, you might need to take another bus or walk to work. So you might want to check that out. Again, it's a great way to get some exercise in. You might even consider take your bike onto Caltrain. First compartment of the Caltrain is a bike storage. So plenty of people take their bike onto the train and then bike to work from the train station in San Francisco. So that's another great option for you. Let's talk about Apple Computer, which is headquartered in Cupertino. They just built this spaceship, very magnificent looking building. So you might be working there and you are wondering how long would it take to get to work. So if you live in Palo Alto, it would take about 20 to 35 minutes to drive there from Palo Alto to Cupertino, which is probably the best option. You could either take 101 and 280 is actually a really good option in terms of highway routes. If you were to bike there from Palo Alto, it would be a little far, but definitely doable if you're looking for a really solid exercise. It would take you an hour and 15 minutes at least, depending on how fast you bike. Transit is also possible. Apple Computer also have a lot of bus shuttles. So if you were to do a combination of Caltrain and buses, we're talking about 15 minutes to an hour if you were to take advantage of public transportation. Let's talk about Adobe. If you are one of the lucky employees who get to work in Adobe in downtown San Jose, downtown San Jose is about an hour south of San Francisco. Depending on traffic, it could be more. But if you were to drive to downtown San Jose from Palo Alto, it's going to take you half an hour to 40 minutes to drive there, depending on traffic. And you could definitely bike there, but it will be a really far bike. So probably not feasible if you were trying to make it to work, make it to your meeting at a certain time and still not looking sweaty. The other good option is to take advantage of the public transit. You could do a combination of Caltrain, VTA, buses to get to downtown San Jose. So I hope that is helpful to you if you're thinking about moving to the Bay Area, particularly living near Palo Alto. These are your commute options. Obviously, these days, there's always the options to work from home. That's another thing to look into, and people are changing their way of commute and changing their way of working. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Palo Alto is a wonderful place to call home, a lot to offer. I did a video on the pros and cons of living in Palo Alto, so do check that out if you're curious about living in the city of Palo Alto.